Hello and welcome back. Today we are meeting Sho-kun. He's new to anime, but he really enjoys them. He likes other visual media like cartoons, movies, etc., etc. And he just simply has little experience with anime in particular. He will become more animated in time, and maybe he'll evolve into something new at a certain subscriber count. Who knows? Hint, hint. Anyway, he's going to be helping me out a ton, and I'm really excited because it is truly my least favorite thing to do things in an arbitrary fashion. But that's kind of the nature of the beast when you have 10 minutes and 60 things you're interested in seeing. That is not an exaggeration. I made a spreadsheet of all of the anime announced for 2022, and it's in the links if any of you are curious. I'll do updates to it periodically, and I'll probably be adding some useful columns to it as we go on as well. But yeah, 60 that I said, yeah, I'm interested in. So without further ado, let's dive in. The first group we're gonna go into are the comedies, and partly because it's an easy group to put together and just tackle as a unit. First up, we have Teiko Penguin. The art style is a bit on the childish side, but that's simplistic, and that's intentional on the creator's side, I believe. And so, just a quick description. A penguin who works in an abusive company and gripes about the difficulties of workplace life. This is a quote I got from the Anime News Network. Not sponsored by them or anything. But any show, this is me speaking, any show that intentionally interrogates the values of the culture that gave birth to it has a lot of credit at my bank. Next up, we have the Yakuza's Guide to Babysitting. It is a bit of a trope-heavy series, and great, thanks for asking. There are a few tropes embedded here. One is a comedy trope of having a straight man and a funny dude, and I think this is just a regular comedy trope, but Japan takes this and it's on steroids here in Japan. The next up is Yakuza going big and staking their pride on things. And the last is fathers who are scary but still being super sweet to their daughter figures. And does that kind of cover the tropes? Cool. Okay. Awesome. And this show seems really entertaining, and the characters have a ton of personality even in the promotional images. Really excited. Next up, we have Boy Kongming. I am so here for this show. The Kong in Sho-kun is short for Kongming. Enough said, right? Okay, maybe not enough said. So Kongming is an amazing character / historical figure you should absolutely look up. He appears in Romance of the Three Kingdoms. Anyway, back to the anime. The direction in the promo shot is wonderful. The art direction. I am looking forward, based on this, to a hilariously epic tale. All right, next section. We've got some of the heavy hitters in anime. First up, we've got Made in Abyss. It's written for an adult audience, which not adult in the sexy sense, although those kinds of manga and anime fit into that. It's called seinen, but basically what it really amounts to is these types of anime and manga are more likely to get their point across with nuance and potential moral ambiguity. So this, my synopsis, it's an amazing story of a daughter's search for her mother's love, a young boy's search for himself, and the stories of those who go along for the ride. I've seen the first season. It's wonderful. I adore this show. Can't wait to see more. Next up, Mobile Suit Gundam The Witch from Mercury. The first new Gundam series in 6 years. I'm a big fan of the Gundam franchise in general. This series, the franchise, is always explicitly about the barbarity of war. It's told through different lenses, in different contexts, and with different interpretations of what humanity is, but it always comes back to that core of why war? Attack on Titan, next up, changed the face of anime in some ways. It's violent, disclaimer, but it's very intentional about it, in my opinion. The story doesn't betray us and turn that gore into pure shock value. The final season is coming out this year. I'm caught up, and I haven't had time to read the manga, which is already out. The story is already finished. I just haven't had time to read it. And so I'm looking forward to watching it in anime form. Okay, next up, JoJo's Bizarre Adventure. Easily among the most memed anime in existence, if not the most memed. It is a story of good versus evil and what that looks like across generations. It's told in arcs. Each arc follows a new protagonist as they rise to the challenge of facing the incarnation of evil in their generation. The protagonists all share a link, which adds much needed fluidity and stability to this otherwise bombastic story. The writer is quirky and loves naming things after famous Western artists, particularly musical artists. I've read this arc. It's called Stone Ocean. It's one of my favorites out of the 8-ish that I've read. It has an awesome female protagonist and some excellent fights. Next up, The Rising of the Shield Hero. I am looking forward to the continuation of this series. It is truly a giant in its genre, and that genre is isekai. Thank you for asking. Isekai are basically stories in which the protagonist is taken out of their world and thrust into another. And the Japanese can roughly be translated as out of this world. And in the classic Western literary canon, Alice in Wonderland is an isekai of its own kind. Does that answer the question? Okay, gotcha. Well, it's worth watching to find out what I mean. This show, Shield Hero, takes many of the classic weaknesses of the genre and turns them on their heads. Its main flaws are in representation, particularly the artistic representation of race. Sadly, this is an area in which many, if not most, anime also fail. There's also a possible discussion to be had about the representation of slavery. I'd love for people to watch it and tell me what their thoughts are. All right, we're in the final section. These are the series that just get me excited. One is World Trigger. It takes post-apocalypse or semi-apocalypse and shows us a way that someone truly sincere could survive and thrive in that world. I'm a big fan of the individual growth and the friendships that this show portrays for us, and it has some enthralling and, dare I say, believable strategic combat. Next up, The Orbital Children is a collaboration between a pretty big writer/director and artist. The artist did the character designs for one of my all-time favorite anime, Eureka 7. To be honest, I know nothing of this series beyond the synopsis and the images that I've seen online. The fact that this artist is on this project is what makes me want to give it a shot. And last up, we have the black sheep of this list, Exception. It looks dark as all hell, but it's got a strong high sci-fi concept. It gives us a lot of opportunity to see what the author envisions humanity to be. All right. I kept it to series only due to time, but for what it's worth, here are some of the movies that would have made the cut if we had more time. First up, The Tunnel to Summer, The Exit of Goodbye. Next, Touken Ranbu, Hanamaru. Next, Drifting Home. Then we have Suzume no Tojimari. And finally, Bubble. Thank you so much for watching this. Let me know what you think in whatever form is comfortable for you. Ideally, that would be the comments section here or on Instagram at Shukong_friends. Likes, dislikes, and subscribes are all helpful. If you want to give me suggestions for what to watch, Instagram is the place to do that. Peace.